Lulu. 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 Lulu Lulu Lulu. Say that 3 times fast. If you thought you hated laning against the demon teemo up top lane, there stands a greater threat behind him, looming just over ahead to ruin your life. Someone who's on par with Satan himself if he could give out shields and have some of the best utility-based abilities in the entire game. The only thing she is there to do is to make you want to smash your keyboard across the screen. She's someone who will start out in your life, taking your lunch money, and spend the lunch period making sure you watch her eat the food. Maybe pushes you in the mud for good measure too. Teenage years, she'll be there to take your crush you're about to ask to the prom. And make sure you're there to watch as she dances with them while you sit alone at the punch table. And just when you think you've escaped her grasp in adulthood, she will not only re-enter to take what you love dearly, but ensure you have a good life, get you back on your feet if you fall, just so she can take more from you. Lulu is, well, Lulu. One of, if not the best enchanter support in all of League, hands down. Janna, go back to blowing wind in a place where people don't believe in you until they're in trouble. Karma, don't you have a country to defend? Taric, oh, I can't say anything bad about you, buddy. Go back to doing your stuff. But Lulu is surely one who can tower above them all. In terms of stats, she has great numbers all around. For power, I would have to give Lulu an A. Remember, this is an unbiased opinion. Totally based on what I've experienced and what I've played for her. Nothing more, nothing less. The reason being is once you have at least a core item, that being a battle song or a moonstone, your utility skyrockets in how you're able to play in fights. Her E, appropriately named Help Picks, is what you're going to be calling out to picks when your opponents have had enough of your shielding your ADC every 4 seconds and want to strangle you. Not only does your E scale with 55% of your AP, but the base shield size is also pretty hefty too, and it lasts for 2.5 seconds with no decay. Just a good healthy shield that also allows Pix, your passive, to attach itself to the ally. So whenever they attack, it shoots bolts out that hit the first enemy, so it can be blocked by other units. The fact that not only does it do 15 to 117 based on Lulu's own level, plus 50% AP damage total, 5% plus 5 to 39 per bolt, but it has no cooldown. So, as long as the whole attack animation has gone off for Pix, it will shoot again once that champion attacks again. And it will keep pelting whoever they are until they either die, the timer on the shield runs out, or if someone blocks the attack, then they just get pelted instead. As for her Q, her and Pix shoot out glitter that slows for 80%, does extra damage if both of the bolts hit a unit. Pretty simple. You can even combo your E and Q to poke from a minion or even from the enemy champion themselves. But just so you know, if you do use that combo, you're kind of fucked because you don't really have any other backup in terms of slows or shields except for your W. Lulu's ult is Wild Growth, and boy do I feel a wild growth in a certain area when I use this. It's my heart. Am I allowed to put a joke like this in here? Because most of the time I use this, my teammate is near death and I nearly have a heart attack. Please stop doing stupid plays. This ult is similar to Nara's passive transformation where it technically gives health as if it's healed because they do gain max health. It also knocks up and slows. The slow and the health both scale with ability rank, and the health also scales with a juicy 45% AP, so come late game you are practically healing them for a very high 500 to even mid 600. It just depends on what runes and what items you get. Specifically Moonstone and Gathering Storm can easily achieve these numbers, and that's even without the shield you are putting on them. Lulu's W is something that I intentionally wanted to save for last. Her W, Whimsy for allies, Polymorph for enemies, or better known as, sorry you just lost keyboard privileges, for 1.25 to 2.25 seconds. Imagine an ability, right? Something that can not only slow you for 60 base move speed, silence you, but can also disarm you. Remember when Aurelia first was reworked and she could disarm you with her ult and they took that out because it was too strong? Well, Lulu's over here in the shadows laughing her ass off because she can still disarm you. If you decide to instead put her W on an ally, you increase their movement speed, as well as attack speed, which scale from 25 to 35% and 30% plus 5% per 100 AP respectively. All in all, it just depends on how you play the lane or team fight. You can either boost your allies and hope that there is enough damage to outburst any form of disengage or engage, or attempt to polymorph a specific target and put on your earmuffs for when they scream profanities at you. Because for some reason, they and their allies will refuse to build any cleansing item, so that's on them. Also, for her W, you can... Who could be at the door? Hey, Madamer, so there's been some changes to Lulu as of late. What do you mean they're changing her W? I have this entire thing up to this point written down and now you decide to make changes? Ugh, fine. Instead of 30% move speed, it's 25, and instead of Polymorph being 1.25 to 2.25, it's 1.2 to 2. And the cooldown increased too. They're happy? Now, as I was saying, Lulu's W power, combined with her E shield, her passive stacked on top of that, plus you are most likely going to be buying Ardent Sensor, rest in peace old Ardent, which used to give lifesteal, you are going to be giving whoever you shield, most likely your ADC in the late game, untouchable power. Movement speed to kite, attack speed to incinerate the enemy, a shield in case they somehow get attacked, your own Q to slow whoever gets close, and if all else fails, an ult that gives health, knocks up, and slows. It's insane how good she is. As for her speed, her cooldowns are pretty short, with her shield being on a base 8-second cooldown, so you can easily protect your ally every chance you get. Her W is where it gets you, since now at the time of making the script after learning the nerfs, it won't be a major difference from before, but come late game you'll have a lot of cooldown reduction anyway. So the only thing you might feel a change to overall is the speed and duration of the polymorph. Other than that, nothing else. As for the time it takes for said abilities to get out, there's no wind up to any abilities she has. An easy A grade for her speed. For the range, Lulu is a ranged champion, so utilizing her passive with no minions is essential to get good poke off in the lane. As for how long her abilities range, you can basically be on the other side of the lane not paying attention, and once you realize your ADC is near death, just throw them some shields and boosts and you're all good. Because your W's massive speed boost, it really is nice for your passive to go farther ahead than you before blinking back, up to an estimated 20-50 range. So face roll over W, E, and R and just send them on their way. Go on, my child. They grow up so fast. Also, using the QE combo as mentioned before is really good in getting poke, either on the minions or the champ itself. Definitely an A for range. For the durability, here's where things take a turn for Lulu. While these abilities are nice, once you have used them up, Lulu can get easily blown up or focused very quickly in a fight. For durability sections, I'm going to combine the use of abilities on allies as well as how long she's able to keep herself and her allies alive. As with any champion, once you use all of your mana or your abilities are on cooldown, you have to rely on passives or the effects from items you have. So once Lulu has used everything, you might as well put on a dunce hat and sit in the corner because you bring almost nothing to the table. But, on the other hand, Lulu's abilities are able to prolong a fight as long as possible, so maybe it's too harsh to hate her when she's out of mana. She is an enchanter after all. She's not able to freely tank things like other supports are able to do naturally. So combining prolonged fights and her squishiness, I would have to give her durability a B. Amazing in some places, but awful in others. I'm gonna go over the precision part fast since there's not much to it. Q is a skill shot, has good range for poke but can easily miss. W on allies is a point and click instant, W on enemy is a point and click projectile, so it can be easily blocked by Yasuo wall. E is a point and click instant on allies and units, R is a point and click, easily a grade A with how easy it is to get abilities off on champions. For Lulu's potential, she's a very easy champion to play, unless you were me several years ago thinking that having two versions of W and E felt like learning rocket science. So there are two versions of the E? Yes. And two versions of the W. Yes. Oh, okay. Hey, your ADC is getting hit. Shield them. Shield them. Shield them! Wait, which one is that? Is it this one? Did I shield them? It's E. Press the E on them, not W. The E button. Do it!
An ally has been slain.
Oh, that E button. A for potential. The only thing that would be considered difficult isn't necessarily the abilities itself, but what to use during certain scenarios. Is it more advantageous to polymorph someone, or is it better to speed them up? Would combining E and Q be good at a time like this? You wouldn't have a shield to help with anyone if you do. Other than these two things, she really isn't a hard champion to play. She's really fun and a real joy to listen to her shout lines when using any ability. And it really shames me for that some reason this entire time I've played Lulu, I thought she was saying front foot, but instead she says hot foot. Hot foot! As well as me thinking that she says catch up and not tut tut of all things. Tut tut! To any hardcore Lulu mains out there, I sincerely apologize. Also, did you know that according to the wiki, she apparently has one new line, but it's only for her Cosmic Enchantress skin? Fix! What's up with that? If you're able to tell me in the comments, I would actually really appreciate it. And to wind down the episode, it's time for the bonus round. It's time for the buffs I wish would happen, but in reality would never happen with how stupid they are. Lulu's W should break shields. Thank you for watching. Say that 3 times fast. To be continued. Goodbye. And that's it. That's the video. Please don't comment.